Wait, are you doing more harm than good? This is day one of the Removing Negative Energy series. Hello, I'm Fractal Future, and welcome to the Vanguard Light, where we help energy sensitive people take it to the next level. And we're talking about removing negative energies. This is day one, and this is critical. So we're going to talk about my 6-step framework, kind of really to put like negative energies in a box, in a place, what we're removing, when we remove, how do we go about it. It's going to be critical, and day one is super important because you actually might be doing more harm than good. So there's going to be various types of negative energies, but the first thing you need to do, right, is if you got a feeling of a negative energy, a feeling of negative sense inside you, and a feeling in the room, first check, is it yours? Now this is critical, because I'm going to give you an example. Imagine, I hate this one, but I'm going to give the example because it makes a lot of sense, is if you took a test, got a test, and it said it's you had cancer, right? I hate cancer. Lost my best friend to cancer. And the test says you had cancer, right? And then you decide to do chemo, which basically tries to kill the cancer before it kills you, right? Now, what if the cancer test was wrong? What if you never actually had cancer? But the test is always going to say you do because the test is broken. So if you were to treat with chemo, you would treat chemo until it killed you because it could never kill the cancer first because you didn't actually have it. So, and this is like the analogy is with energy work, right? The first thing you have to do, otherwise you're pretty much going to implant it in you, which is kind of what happened as a baby. As a baby, you came in super psychic, and you just started pulling out limitations from your parents' head, other people's around you, just pulling out the limitations and putting them in you. So that's the first thing we got to stop doing. Stop. Is to check whatever you're feeling, is it yours? Because if it's not yours, you can't work on it, and you'll only implant it into you to where you try to make it of like, well, here's this feeling, here's this energy, I'm sensing it, it must be mine, it must be in me, you know, especially if you feel it inside you. The first thought is like, oh, well, it's mine, right? But if it's not yours, and you start working on it, and you start trying to clear it and start dealing with it, you're going to create the situation of like, well, how do you clear something that's not there, that's not yours? You would have to then create it, implant it, and then be like, okay, let me try to get it out. And we don't want to do that. We don't want to do that. We don't want to bring any more in, because it also causes you to get into these loops of stuff that you've cleared, healed, moved past, but we sense it. You know, our abilities increase. The more we clear, the more we get out, the more negative energy we remove, the more our intuition and our psychic abilities are going to increase. Our abilities to empath are going to increase, and we're going to start being able to sense negative energies. And this is where you could have where you're like, I'm clearing. Why does it feel like there's just more negativity? More like, why am I not making progress? When you're actually making progress, but you're misidentifying the negative energies that are no longer yours, that you actually move past it. But you feel it, and you think, well, if I'm feeling it, it must still be there, it must be mine. So we are going to do one little test. This is from Access Energy Transformation. I will put a link if you want to check them out. And it's to ask, you know, is this mine, right? You know, you feel this weird energy, and you ask yourself, is this mine? And then notice in your body. Like if you feel like your body kind of gets a little bit of a relief, a lightening, that unfortunately means yes, it is. It's kind of opposite. You think about like, well, wouldn't it feel worse? No, it feels lighting because it's answering of like, yeah, this is yours. And if it feels lighter, like say you're feeling that crap, like, oh, right? You're like, is this mine? And it's like kind of lightens up a bit. It's like, oh man, it is, right? That's fine. That just means now you know how to work on it. And we'll talk about that in the next couple of days of like, okay, once it got that past that first gate, it's mine. Okay, now we can start looking at working on it, right? It's up for me. But if you don't have that lift or it gets heavier, then it's not yours. You're probably just picking up empathing it. And the simple thing is just to be like, return to sender. Just say that, return to sender, and move on. Be like, this is not for me to deal with, you know? And you might push it away, feel it lightening, right? That, okay, this is not mine. I'm not addressing it. Now, there could be stuff inside you that stimulated, and then you can go further into it. Like say you push it away, then you now feel a new thing, you know, check it. Even if it feels like it's the same, you know, you say return to sender, check that new one. And you can do the same thing, you know, is this mine? And if you don't get that lightning, a little bit of lightning, a little bit of increase of like, okay, this is yours, same thing, return to sender. This is a critical step, because if you're working on stuff that's not yours and that you're just picking up, the only way you can work on it is to kind of make it yours. So here's a situation where you've done all this work, all this clearing, and all of a sudden you're just having to re-clear stuff because you sense it, you pull it back into you, you do all the work to pull it back into you, and it's like, oh man, it's here. Now let me clear it. So you're gonna be surprised at how much you're gonna be like, oh wow, that, not mine. If you're picking up other people's stuff, but you don't actually help them, you're not clearing it for them, you're actually sensing it, taking, duplicating it inside you, seeing it, and then trying to clear it. So that's the last thing we want to do, is like sense the limitation, duplicate it, and put it in us to then go clear. So you're gonna find there's a lot of stuff. And you do with thoughts. You get a thought in your head of like, oh, I'm so mad about that. Just check first, before you jump down the rabbit hole, be like, is this mine? A lot of, is this mine? Is this mine? Is this mine? That's your first gate that you want to put up. When we're doing this energy work, put up the first gate of like, I'm only working on my stuff because I can't work on other people's stuff. It's different than if you're helping someone else, right? And you're going into like, I'm going to help you clear something. That's them clearing. But you also want them to check. And you can check, well, is it theirs? Because you can't help them clear something that they're just empathing of someone else's. Now, it got to be the source of whose is it? And that's where it can be cleared. But when it's not yours, we don't clear it. So hopefully that is giving you some new info. That's a little change of like, oh man, I don't do that. I don't consistently check of, wait a second, this is even mine, versus I might just happen to be picking it up. It might not be my work to do. It's just info. It's just, oh, okay, there that is, right? And you can still clear areas. Like if you want to clear an area, you just find out, is that the area? If that's the stuff there at the area, then you clear it. Versus some other type of energetic chain that you might have hooked into someone else and it's coming through and you think it's there. So it's just like understanding. And we're going to go deeper into this on the following days on kind of all these ways in which to parse these negative energies and make sure you're clearing the right ones for the right reasons at the right times, because it makes a really, really big difference. You know what I'm saying? It's like kind of like if you're watching TV and there's a bad show on, right? You could just turn the TV off. As opposed to, imagine you're watching a TV show, right? And you're trying to clear the people on the TV show. You're trying to, sort that out, and you wonder why that TV show, like especially if you had it recorded, it's always the same every time. And no one's getting better on the TV show, because that'd just be misidentified. You just been like, whoa, don't clear a TV show. Of course it's going to be the same every time it's recorded. The characters aren't going to change. So it's kind of like the same way. If you go into this non-physical and try to work on stuff that you're not actually working on. Because if there's the limitation, right? And I copy it, bring it inside me, work and clear it, I haven't worked on that limitation. I've copied and put it in me to work on it. It's a big different distinction. So let me know in the comments if that made sense. That is day 1. We got 5 more days and we're gonna know about negative energies. But before we do, let's just kind of, whatever you might have picked up, because I'm sure they don't like me telling you this, right? So there are negative energies in the area. You're just gonna think, I want you to picture like a bubble around you, right? We're just gonna let some bubble around you, right? And then we'll feel our feet kind of rooting to the ground. It's real basic, it's fine. But I always like to say, even a real simple basic technique is stronger than the more powerful technique you don't do. So make a little bubble, feet rooting to the ground, and we're just gonna, anything inside this little bubble, we're just gonna drain it away. We listen to some new info. Maybe some dark forces don't want you to hear it, but that's fine. We're just gonna drain that away, drain down through our feet. Then we're gonna think like kind of our aura. Anything that's in our aura, we're just gonna drain it down. Then our chakras, just think your spine. Don't have to know what they are. Just think all through your spine. You're just draining all. Anything that you picked up don't need. Just drain it down through your spine, down through your feet. There we go. So hopefully that helped you feel a little better. We talked about some negative energies. Sometimes that brings stuff up, but we're going to drain some of it out. Make a little improvement forward. So until we talk again, have a blessed day or a blessed night.